I told you that was going to happen. That was what? No, you can't release that. I said, bull jive. The Freedom of Information Act, oh, they going to get that.
They got it, and they got closer to the bottom of what happened. So some details we can't connect dots on. But there was the empty pharmaceutical bottle you referred to in his backpack. And then there are more details about, I'm just going to read from the report. Instead of staying in his lane as it curved right, he struck a curb, mowed down a wooden sign, and drove into opposing lanes before hitting a tree and rolling over in what fittingly was called the Rolling Hills Estates. And after hitting the median, he traveled a distance of several hundred feet without touching his brake. And then the other, just impossibly hard to digest detail, is that in the last second before he hit the tree, he pushed down 99% on the accelerator. And by all accounts, you can not even leap. You can jump right to a conclusion and be within bounds to believe that he fell asleep at the wheel. And there have been several of there's a former police detective in Southern California, Jonathan Cherney. He just says it's a classic case of falling asleep behind the wheel. Right. And we had the report yesterday. He was traveling as fast as 87 miles an hour down the hill and probably hit the tree somewhere in the range of 75 miles an hour. Back to your point, I have no idea how he walked away. Thank God I'm going to knock on wood. With just broken legs. Yeah, with broken legs. And it could be a crippling injury. He could fight with this the rest of his life. I hope not. But as we spoke of yesterday, this happened shortly after 7 a.m. Thank God he didn't head on anybody coming in the two opposite lanes of traffic.
And you know, in traveling at that rate of speed, it's fatalities on both sides.
No swerving until right at the very end. It looked like the wheel turned slightly, according to the black box.
Oh, well, that black box was a camera light on the street.
Now we ask, why was
they keep saying the camera, the black box? Was it like a camera on the street or something?
It appeared he had not been operating the vehicle while impaired. I have no idea how you can.
That's something that's indestructible.
Paramedics said that he had slightly sluggish eyeballs at that point. Well, I can see that. But when interviewed shortly thereafter at the hospital as he was getting his face stitched up, he thought he was in the state of Florida, which brought to mind one of his previous incidents when he was found behind the wheel asleep.
I thought it was in California.
He was in Orange County in California. So we had the flip of that. And obviously he had a recent back surgery, so it would follow that he had prescription pain-killing medicine. And yet, in the 2017 incident, when he was found asleep at the wheel near his home in Florida, he was arrested for drunk driving, and there was a toxicology report that revealed his system had sleep medication, Ambien, as most people know, painkiller Vicodin, THC, and he checked into a clinic that year to get help from medications. Pleaded guilty then to reckless driving. Again, he has suffered enough, but this is no different than driving drunk to me. It has that potential here that he was driving it somehow impaired, or that, you know, the whole idea that he fell asleep at the wheel at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Let me ask you something.
Almost, 90 miles an hour.
Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm one of people that. Is it normal that you carry medication in a backpack? Now I understand if you have blood pressure issues and you have certain type of medical condition, obviously you want to keep your medicine on you at all time. But I don't carry medicine around in my backpack. Not aspirin, not anything.
Again, just had a back surgery, and by the way, that was his 6th back surgery that he just had. And the 5th back surgery was a spinal fusion surgery, and as you well know, that's some serious business.
But Skip, they have all the pain medication. Do not operate a motor vehicle if you ingest these medicines.
Absolutely. So there should be some predictable outrage that he was operating this vehicle. and that somehow he was going almost 90 miles an hour down the hill and hit a tree going 75 and never touched the brake. Okay, so after I read this morning, I sat back and reflected on this man's career. And I've told you, I've known a lot of football players, including you, many players who played long, full careers. And not one of them suffered as many injuries as this man suffered. I mean, he is a golfer. But it started in 2002 when he tore his ACL, and according to Hank Haney, his coach at the time, he was on maneuvers because he wanted to become a Navy SEAL and follow in his father's military footsteps. Robert Seward fought in Vietnam, Earl Woods, and on maneuvers, going through, you know, the shootout in the dark building, he tore his ACL according to Hank Haney. Well, this is a man who, remember, before he even won his first Masters, Jack Nicklaus, who has 18 majors right now, the Tigers 15, predicted that Tiger would win more Masters than Arnold Palmer and I combined. Well, they have combined 10. Tiger is on 5 because at age 43 in 2019, he won his 5th Masters, and I still don't know how he did that, coming back from all the injuries that he has suffered, because he's had he's had 2 Achilles injuries, he's had all the back injuries, he's had neck, he's had elbow, name something, he's had it, and yet, you want to talk about resilient and fighting back and bouncing back, but I now look at Tiger's career, and I think, how great could it have been if he just stayed relatively healthy the way most golfers stay relatively healthy?
Well, the thing that makes athletes great is the ultimate, a lot of times that leads to the demise is because it's when someone tells you, no, don't do that, you plow full steam ahead. I'm sure there were people saying, Tiger, you don't need to do this. You're not going to be a Navy SEAL. You have an opportunity, and I still think he's the greatest golfer to ever live. But you have a chance to accomplish things that's never, ever going to be touched again. But that's what made him Tiger. That's what made him Tiger. Tiger will have what we call, Skip, what we see with a lot of ex-professional football players. They've had so many injuries, their bodies have been so battered that in order to continue to function on a day-to-day basis, sometimes they medicate themselves. And hopefully they don't get behind the wheel and try to operate a vehicle, but that's what it's a classic case of. There's no reason that Tiger Woods would have an empty prescription bottle with no label on it. I mean, if you're taking medicine that's going to go up and up, okay. So if you're taking Vicodin or Percocet or Oxy, whatever the case may be, Skip.
He's had 4 knee surgeries, 2 ACL tears, and an ACL issue.
He's a cookie monster.
Cartilage damage. So you can argue that he's beyond the pain suffered by a lot of ex-football players, right? Yeah. Okay, I get that. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm just trying to put it in perspective.
He's probably bone on bone in me or something.
He probably is at this point. And yet, he still won 82 professional tournaments. That tied Sam Snead for the most all-time. Jack Nicklaus won 73. But is he stuck on 82? Will we ever see him again? I don't know.
I don't know these kids. I don't know either. But I thought at one point in time, Skip, I thought he'd go get to 100. And I thought he'd get to 20 majors.
He could have.
And I believe a lot of other people, I think a lot of other people thought he would get to. Because think about the stretch, Skip. He had 2008, the U.S. Open was his last one. He lost in 2009 when Rodney Yang chased him down at the PGA.
But he won that U.S. Open in the playoff against Rocco Mediate with 2 stress fractures in his tibia. Okay.
So he went, basically 12 years without winning a major.
He went 12 years.
That's 4 majors a year? That's a bunch of majors that he could have won. Tiger, nobody ever expected him, Skip, to go that long in between winning majors.
No.
1, 2 years, but not a decade.
Remember, it got so bad for him. I'm going back 6 years ago. I remember at the Phoenix Open one year, he got the chip yips where he couldn't even chip the ball off the green. He was blading everything and chili dipping everything. He couldn't even chip it forward. He was so messed up psychologically, and he bounced back from that at age 43. He's now 45, but he won that. I have no idea how he won that Masters. But he did. He did. I saw a stretch of all these events back in 2001 when he won what's called the Tiger. He didn't grand slam it all in a row because it ended on the Masters instead of starting with the first major of the year, the Masters. But he goes U.S. Open, British Open, PGA Masters, all in a row.
You're going to see that again.
And it's just impossibly great, impossibly dominant.
Yes.
And that's what could have been.
Right.
And what almost was.
Right.
And in the middle of this, he has a cheating scandal in his life that was about as shocking as anything we've seen. And it's so ironic. HBO just came out with this big Tiger documentary that detailed all the cheating scandal and had many on-camera interviews with many of those that he cheated with. And back to early girlfriends, and it's a great look. I watched it. It's very enlightening about Tiger's mentality, how he was raised by his father, and
the things that some of the things that his father did. My grandpa used to always tell us, he said, boy, if you're not careful, you'll become the very thing you despise the most in a person. What was the one thing that Tiger despised the most about his dad?
That he wasn't faithful.
And he turned around and became the very thing he despised the most in the person that he loved the most.
Bingo. And yet he so idolized his father, he wound up following right in his footsteps. Okay. And it tore apart what most people thought was the most perfect marriage. He was the greatest husband / father ever. And he is, by all accounts, a great father.
Great father. Yes.
Not so much a good husband. So what a life and times this man has lived. And here's the point of his golf career. And we're seeing it in full force as we speak at the Masters, which is going on as these words are spoken. Correct. Tiger Woods put golf on the national map the way it had never, ever been. And I fear, and I'm a golf fan, I fear it's about to slip off the national map because Tiger had his accident and is going to be out of sight, out of mind for a good while, if not maybe for good.
Skip, and they got some great golfers. They got 10 guys that go into every tournament and have a great chance of winning, but none of them name is Tiger. None of them go by, the one name. That's it.
He was a human thunderstorm of emotion, passion, and explosiveness that we had never seen before on a golf course, because most golfers, the white golfers, the country club products, they're taught not to show emotion. They're taught to say nothing. Well, he was a firestorm of profanity. We'd never seen that before, but he just exploded on camera, on microphone. I'll never forget that U.S. Open. I was there Saturday morning at the beach when he just tore the field apart. Remember that in 2000? And it was on Saturday morning. He was on a tee on the 18th. He had to finish his round, and their boom mics out there on a tee. It's like out in the ocean to hit back into the fairway. And he didn't like his tee shot, and he screamed out a string of expletives that were caught on Saturday morning TV around the country. And it was a shock. Because golfers just don't do that. But it brought edge to a golfer that no golfer had ever really had before.
And to show that kind of emotion, the fist pump, he come out there with his signature. Golfers just wore what they wore.
Barkley had plenty to say about the team and organization. And even after Paul George dropped 33 points and pulled out the win, Barkley still doubled down. Take a listen to the comments.
Do you think the Clippers are a contender?
No.
Or pretender?
Pretender.
Pretender. Why pretender?
At this stage of their career, Kawhi's won 2 championships. Paul George is an all-star. If I got them 2 guys, then I bring in Ibaka, then I bring in Batum. I'm like, damn, what else do I need? So, no, I do not think I don't think they're contenders at all. I've been poor, I've been rich, I've been fat, I've been skinny, I've been old, I've been in the Hall of Fame, and one thing I can always tell you, the Clippers have always sucked.
Wow, okay, Shannon, are the Clippers pretenders?
I know Charles Barkley has always been a fool to He's very funny. He's very good at what he does. Skip, for me, this is what Skip Bayless has taught me since I've been on the show. Nothing matters. I'm saying nobody cares about a Thursday night game. In April, who cares about Thursday night game? But when the playoffs really gonna start and